Good evening, everybody. My name is Rusty Sharpanti. It's my pleasure to welcome you here tonight to our City School music concert, instrumental music concert. We are so excited to share the fantastic talents of these students this evening. It is a privilege to work with my colleagues here. Mr. Kelly, directing the band, is just an outstanding person as well as director. You're going to see the amazing students here tonight just because of his fine leadership and their dedication, doing fantastic things. I also want to just thank our other music teachers here, Caitlin Marr and Captain Cameron, who sent you, is, am I allowed to say it? Yeah, okay, is retiring this year and moving on. I was like, oh no, I don't want to spill anything I should, but can we give it up for Captain Cameron? Music education is just a selfless thing at times, and Kathy, you were just such a fantastic human. We really appreciate you, all you've done, so thank you so much. We're going to now move to the orchestra portion of the evening. You're going to see these students. I really hope to highlight just how much they've grown. I think we were all here last time, and you're going to hear just how much progress they've made. I'm so impressed by that. You're going to notice, too, that there is no beginning orchestra and advanced orchestra. I just smushed them all together and said, hey, you know what, you guys? You might have started this year, but you're just going to hang out with the advanced students and see what you can do. And they've really impressed me. So at times, I just want to give you a heads up. You might see some players not know some of the moments and they're going to put their instrument down. That's a good thing because they're trying music that's really hard and they're extending their playing. They've played parts of this music, and so that is really impressive. So just want to prepare you for that. We'll get on with our portion of the show. We're going to kind of start and progress into more and more difficult music as we go. So this is something typical that a beginner might play at the start at this time of year, and then we're going to get more and more challenging. You'll kind of follow that progression. So here we go with a tune called Steak and Kidney Pie, which does not sound good. Sorry, the song sounds good. This next tune is going to progress into a round, so you're going to hear one part start and then one part enter later. They're playing the same music but at different times, so it's increasing complexity and introducing two parts at the same time. before we play our final piece, I just want to recognize one student. We went through a crazy thing called COVID. I'm sure you're all there, and it kind of was really hard to teach music during that time. And I had one student in particular who stuck with it, started, I think, just as it was happening, and then spent a lot of time learning on the screen, sticking with it. A lot of the students just didn't do that, and I just want to take a moment to appreciate our lone 8th grader, Bella Jackson. Tonight she's going to win the Orchestra Directors Award. So, Bella, you can stand. And then all of these students are very special, and in my life I have a 2-year-old right now, and so everyone's special to me. It's a very special drawing made by my 2-year-old. So all these guys are going to walk away with my daughter's artwork. Thank you for their time this year. And there's many of them, it's probably enough for all of them. So. All right, here's our last piece. This piece is was a real stretch. I handed these guys this year, and they were just eyes wide, like, how are we ever going to do this? This is so difficult. And I was like, you can do this. You've got to keep at it. And they really did. They put in a lot of time. I'm really proud to present this full orchestra arrangement piece called Storm. All so much. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Good evening, everyone. Zachary Kelly, I'm the band director at St. Albans City. And before we continue on, I want to point out something that I don't think Rusty is ever going to admit himself, but he is a phenomenal orchestra director, and he's not just the orchestra director for our building, he's the orchestra director for every building in our district. And that means he travels between every single school all the time throughout the week in order to meet every kid's needs. And that is a tough thing to do. It's hard to be in that position. I find it hard to be in one building and keep up with all the things that got going on. I cannot imagine keeping up with 4 buildings worth of students and still developing a program. He's doing that. So big shout out to Rusty. Another thing I want to point out for our orchestra students' sake, if any of you have I've been to our concerts long enough. When I first arrived, Mr. C and I decided we were going to try and encourage more students by ourselves playing instruments that we weren't terribly comfortable with. I convinced him to play trumpet in my ensemble, and he convinced me to play violin. And I am bad. I am really bad. I practice like I tell my students to, and I was still terrible. The students were cringing as they watched me play alongside them, and I was apologizing while I was playing. It was not good. So what I can say from experience is that orchestral instruments are incredibly challenging, and to hear them put on a piece like that, full orchestral work, is amazing, especially those students that are in their first year. So one more round of applause for the orchestra. And now we're going to begin with beginning band. It's not so beginning anymore. We've got a year under our belts, and I don't know about you and what you recall of them when they first came home with instruments, but I was just having a conversation with them, kind of poking fun at them about how much they've grown. We went from, how do I put this instrument together, to did I put it together right, to what do I do when I didn't put it together right? And now they're actually performing full pieces, not just in harmonies, but also with eighth notes, complex rhythms, pickups, all these other musical ideas that I can keep shouting out words that you won't necessarily understand, but they're doing it and they're doing an amazing job. So I do hope you enjoy our 5th grade beginning band.
Concert B flat major scale, half notes.
for 5th grade is called donkey riding, and it apparently has nothing to do with donkeys at all. I had no idea for like the first 10 years I taught, and the previous years I played the song in 4th grade, and I thought it was about donkeys, and no one told me otherwise. It's actually about a steamboat from the 1880s that the engine was called a donkey, and it's about making sure it's working hard enough. And I gotta tell you, this piece really does mimic that idea that it's gotta work hard, because it is all 8th notes all the time, and if you know anything about faster rhythms, that is tough when you're a beginner and you're just figuring out your notes, let alone now having to play them faster. So this is a challenging piece, but they've worked really hard on it, and they're so ready for it. So our final piece, donkey riding. All right, we're back. Thank you so much for your patience. We got 6th graders up next, and as you can see, there are some big differences between 5th and 6th grade. Not just talking about height-wise. We've got a number of different instruments that did not exist in the 5th grade beginning band. That's because as they progress, they can start branching out, trying new instruments, challenging themselves further. You'll also notice we have a violin in our 6th grade group. An addition that's actually really new, like within the last 2 weeks, and we're really excited to have that addition. There's 2 what? Oh, but 1 playing violin right now. Good point. We do have 2 violin players in the group. 1 is playing tenor saxophone right now. Thank you. Oh, and 3, 1 is playing clarinet. We have very eclectic kids, and I have a hard time keeping track. But they're also very good at correcting me. The first piece we're going to play is called Eclipses. It is for eclipses. I have a hard time pronouncing this one. It's got a Y at the end. I don't know if it's E's or is. But it's a great piece that was introduced to me along with these students at our district's ensemble. That's where all the students from nearby schools, not just within our school district, but the Northwest Music District, includes, I think, 18 different schools. So students from 18 different schools were allowed to participate if they elected to do so. It's a very intimidating thing, especially as 6th graders, when you've never performed with anyone outside of this small group, and to suddenly be in an ensemble that is in triple digits in size, because there's about 102 people, can be a very daunting thing, but the number of students that took it on was incredible. We had more from our school than I think we've ever had, and it was a delight to have so many of our 6th graders especially participate. Can I actually have my 6th, 7th, and 8th graders that participated in districts this year, even if you didn't make it to the end because you got sick, or even if you had to miss a day because some other thing came up, if you participated at all, would you please stand up? Yeah, these students not only prepared music that is much harder than we typically do in our own ensembles, I say that now that we're playing one of them, but they have to do most of it on their own. There's not a whole lot of time for me to spend with them in their lessons and still prepare things that they are doing within their ensembles here. So there's a lot of self-direction needed for those things to work out, and all of those students that you saw stand up were willing to put in that time and that effort, and I applaud them, and I hope you do too. I put a little thank you in the program for them as well, because they really did represent St. Albans City quite well, and I'm very proud of them. First song, Eclipses, is
That chime on the bells was actually a nice reminder. Thank you. Please make sure your cell phones are turned off. Unless you are recording, then put them on airplane mode so that you don't have any chimes go off. He's excused. You are not. The next piece is quite a different one. It comes from I want to say early 1700s, like 1720. It's from Judas Maccabeus. See the Conquering Hero Comes. It's a very triumphant piece. It's a very challenging piece because this is the first piece that they have that has numerous harmonies and counter melodies going at the same time. That proves very difficult when they're focused on their part only. Lover of music too. Because of that challenge, that new one that we've presented with the students, this piece in particular has given them a run for their money, but they have done an incredible job with it. You'll hear the melody passed around between flutes, clarinets, alto saxes, violin along with flutes, tenor sax, the lows, trumpets. It hits every single person at some point, and there's some really cool percussion parts happening as well. So we hope you enjoy See the Conquering Hero Comes.
The last piece is a treat of a piece. It's a piece called Awesome Sauce. It really is my driving force for getting these students involved in things beyond just the traditional concert programming that you hear concert bands do. If you haven't noticed in previous concerts or haven't been to one, we have students that have a real passion for jazz, funk, rock, other music besides the contemporary stuff that a typical concert band would perform. And this one has a nice funk feel to it that also has allowed us to kind of talk about improvisation a little bit, allowed us to work on the blues scale, and it's going to be a nice lead-in for these students who are soon going to be in our top band next year. So without further ado, Awesome Sauce. performance. This is was the 8th grade jazz combo. We've invited a couple of 7th graders throughout the year as students have progressed. And it's been a pleasure having them join as they've matured in their playing and their abilities to play much more technically, much more challenging music. But before we begin, every year, I give an award for to an 8th grader for their work, in particular in study of jazz and other forms of music that are similar, like punk, rock, blues. And we have a number of students, if you've been to any of our concerts this year, who absolutely qualify for this award. Students that are willing to take on solos, whether they're written or improvised. Students that dedicate a lot of their time outside of school and into performing, to helping others perform, to deciding music that we are playing today. But the student that is getting it this year is a student who has actually not been in band as long as some other students. They started in 6th grade, and for these 8th graders, 6th grade year was, their 6th grade year was the full year after COVID hit in the spring. And so this student started by, video. Everything that they did in lessons was by video for the first 3 or so months. And that can be a challenge. I don't think I would have stuck it out had I been in that situation, to be perfectly honest, as a child. It is a challenge to communicate ideas, especially musical ones, over video, where the audio quality of a Chromebook or any other non-professional audio just does not meet the caliber that our ears can handle. And so for a student to start then and to continue all the way through to progress to a level that is beyond that of an average 8th grader for sure, and to always ask for more challenges is a wonderful thing, something that I am incredibly proud of, and hopeful that many more students will see this and want to do that as well. This student, I could go on forever, but I probably shouldn't, because you guys are going to want to get out of here eventually. So the student that I am talking about is Finn Lund. Would you please come down? Now, Finn did actually convince everyone else to play this song. This is one that I shared with them at the beginning of the year when I was giving them options for things we could look at. It is called Caravan. It's a really, really, really challenging tune. And while this is a watered-down version of it, it is still an incredibly fast chart with really intense harmonies. We have what are called skyscraper chords, where there are so many notes involved that it's really hard to piece sometimes together what kind of chord or what kind of sound you're supposed to be hearing. Is it happy? Is it sad? But it really does depict a caravan as you would imagine it in a movie from the 1950s or 60s. And so that's around the time that it was written. And so without further ado, we introduced Caravan. With featured soloists right here, tenor saxophone, 2 clarinet players playing trumpet solos, and a trombone player as well. So we hope you enjoy it. Let's go, Sadie. What we're going to do while they're setting up is actually set up a percussion piece right up here. It's a very small setting and it might be hard for some other instrumentalists to see. If you need to stand, 5th and 6th graders, you have my permission, orchestra students, you can stand so you can see. But what we're going to do is not really traditional for one of our ensembles. It's actually just a small percussion trio between me and our 2 8th grade percussionists. One thing that hasn't really been reflected in our performances here in the last few years since COVID is something that we used to do a few years back, where we did dance and West African drumming performances in like a trimester setting. And so having studied West African drumming pretty extensively in college, I brought it here, including a very unique instrument called a jeel, a West African xylophone. And we've got our 2 8th graders that have worked pretty hard to play a piece that is not only a challenge, but also very unique in sound. It is based on a pentatonic scale, which is a 5-note scale instead of an 8-note scale, and that makes it much harder for our ears to really comprehend what's going on in the melody as well. And so the rhythms are very challenging, the notes are challenging, but they do a great job. So without further ado, Luke and Finn are going to be performing with me, Tome Na.
So this is imported from Accra, Ghana. It took like 6 months for it to make it in. And it has calabash gourds, which grow along the coast. And they are hollowed out, hardened, and then holes are drilled in. They're traditionally covered with spider egg sac casings, because that's something that they had 600 years ago when this instrument was first invented. Now it's just pieces of paper. And what that does is it creates a unique vibration that you will hear when it's played. And that gives it a very different sound than our xylophones and marimbas and vibraphones that we have that are all based off of this instrument. So we hope you enjoy.
Wait. Concert band? Sorry, we changed things up and put concert band in the middle, and I think that threw some of our students up. Off. It'll be just a moment longer while they transition again. You would think I was 50 with the number of things I forget in a very short time. I'm 32. If I'm doing this at 50, you're all in serious trouble. Hi, all of you. Thank you for reminding me. Caitlin Marr, I did not know it was your birthday when I planned the concert on this day, and I really am sorry for that, because like a wonderful colleague, like the wonderful colleague you are, you of course are spending your day here, not only because you have a son in the band, but because that's what you do. You come in all the time whenever we need help, even when we don't ask for it. She is so kind and caring and quick to ask if there's anything she can do to help any of the other teachers in our district, not just in our building. And for that we are grateful. But because it is your birthday and we did not really plan something well, or I did not, all of it is me, we're going to do a little thing for you. Remember, I give you 2 when you're in. 1, 2. And to any other parents that give up their nights for their students, even on their birthdays, I know there's at least one out there. Thank you. You are amazing. Pinnacle. For real this time. I don't know. Please tell me if I'm wrong. Don't do that to me. No. You stay there, dude. You move over that. There. Find a window. There we go. Yeah. before we do the next piece, our final concert band piece, that first one you heard is one of two pieces that we're performing for a concert band, more contemporary music. That music is what we're going to be performing. That one that you just heard and the one that you're about to hear are the two that we're going to be performing in New York a week from tomorrow. 7th and 8th grade band, orchestra, and chorus are going to be joining from our school, SATEC, Fairfield, and BFA, and putting together many different ensembles to perform in Queensbury at a high school there for an event called Trills and Thrills, where they're adjudicated, meaning there are people there that are watching them and grading their performance, giving them comments and feedback on what they can improve upon. So it is a wonderful educational experience, a wonderful opportunity for them to perform for professional musicians, for a rating, for feedback, for appreciation and understanding of what the future can hold for them musically. And then at the very end, as a celebration not only of their hard work for that event, but also of their hard work throughout this year and the years that they've been involved, even if they've only been involved for a couple of months, their hard work is just unparalleled in my mind. And so for that, they get to spend a good portion of that Friday at the Great Escape in New York as well, and we're really looking forward to that. That was done because of fundraising that many of you helped in, participated in, and I'm really grateful to all of you for that. It wouldn't be possible without your help. So it really does take a village to raise not only a child, but to raise an ensemble like this. So thank you all. Before we move on to the next piece, I do want to give out one more award. It's another one that I give out every year. This is the Band Director Award. It is dedicated to a student every year who is not only showing musicianship in every form, work ethic, practice, assisting other students, but also dedication for time and effort and energy. The student who I'm giving this to has been playing not only one instrument, but two instruments for 4 years now, and been dedicated to his craft every waking moment. He practices, sometimes to his parents' chagrin, in the wee hours of the night, and I don't believe that somebody as dedicated as him doesn't have one of the most incredible passions for music and learning that I've known from someone this age. So without further ado, Jude Sato, would you please come up?
Mandalorian. Almost done. guys notice I kept conducting because I was just enjoying it so much? I had like 2 extra beats there.
So I was originally going to create a little video or share a little video. I even took 5th graders about this. They were very excited for it. And as I was watching it, I thought more and more to myself that it might just be too embarrassing for these 8th graders. Not to mention the screen is blocked by like 50 bicycles right now. And I just didn't have the energy to move them. But if there are parents, after I tell you about it, any 8th grade parents that would like to see this video later, I will share it with you. The video that I have is of their 5th grade performance. Their first 5th grade performance and their only 5th grade performance because, again, COVID interrupted that year. They only got 1 concert that year. And I can tell you, like I've told them and like I told the 5th graders over there who were nervous about their first concert and their last one of the year, it was horrendous. There were squeaks, there were squawks, all sorts of wrong notes, right? That's beginning band. That's the struggle of learning an instrument. But they do it so well. And to hear that and to know where they're at now, if you can just imagine 5th grade George, who's now like twice his size, twice my size. Luke Gagno, who is also 2 times taller. All of these students that are so much bigger and more mature, not only in their size, but in their playing and their understanding of the world and music around them. It's just incredible. So just bear that in mind as they play these last 2 songs, because I think you will absolutely be blown away. This is Uptown Throwdown, featuring George and Imani on saxophone and trombone, respectively. And you're all going to start shouting out your parts, right? Heys and the whats, and yeah, I want to hear them. I gotta move these away now because I gotta tell you, this next song would definitely break the speaker system. This is another district favorite of our students. So if you went to districts, I don't apologize for you hearing it twice. It's awesome, and our kids were phenomenal there. They represented us well, as I said before. In fact, this piece leaves a lot of opportunity for improvisation in one section, in the F section of it. And at districts, students were allowed to volunteer if they were interested in soloing. Students that soloed at districts, would you please raise your hand or stand up so you can be seen? Yeah. Those students performed in front of hundreds and hundreds of parents with hundreds of students, and they did improv work right then and there. And it's incredible. It's hard. It's scary. I'm a professional musician, and I get scared doing it myself. But they do an amazing job of it. And we've got 4 of them doing it tonight. The 4 of you that are doing it tonight, can you please, if you're in the back standing already, raise your hands. If you're in the front, please stand up so you can be seen. We've got George, Devin, Gavin, and Jude, 4 8th graders that are going to be improvising for you in the middle of this song. And that's not to say the rest of the song is not phenomenal. It's a great piece that was arranged by Mr. G, the person that actually conducted them at the district event. You guys can sit down, thank you. And what I love so much about it is the opportunity for improvisation, but just the liveliness of it. Something that really, it's a song that's meant to bring people together. It's about exploring, it's about, well, busting loose. But before we begin, can I actually have all my 8th graders stand to be recognized? 7th graders sit down for a moment. 8th graders. It's really neat to have this many 8th graders in an ensemble and still be able to say that every single one of them is a world-class musician. Because that is true. They all work really hard, they're dedicated to their craft, and it takes a lot of sacrifice on their part and your part, and I understand that, and I appreciate it greatly. But they take on challenges all the time that I give them, and I give them a lot. But they always ask for more. And I love that thirst for knowledge, for education. You can't ask for better students. And I think we will be at a big loss without them next year. So, thank you all. Bustin' loose. It's time. Gotcha, you ready? Thank you.